Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for joining us. Today I have a little process video for you. This is the process of me creating my little digital painting of a corgi. Well, not just any corgi, but my corgi. Anyway, one of the things that did happen while I was recording this footage is my screen record crapped out. So later on during the process there will be like a little jump, and I will let you know whenever that happens. But I still think that this video has a lot of love to give or more like you know, ideas for you on how to create your own art. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I like to do whenever I'm creating a lineless digital painting is I like to go ahead and flat in all of my base colors. And what I mean by base colors is I usually choose a mid-range color that I want the final piece to be. So mid-range means that I still have room to add highlights and I still have room to add shadows. Although it's definitely clearly evident in the video, I also use my original sketch as the basis for all of my forms. So it's like my original sketch is basically like the foundation to my piece. So I feel like this is why it's good to get some good sketching down before you get painting, so you have a good basis to build upon. That way you don't have to make too many large changes later on in the painting, because large changes later on is a real pain in the butt. I should also mention that I like to keep different sections of the artwork on a different layer. I just prefer to keep them separate for my own painting style, and I just find it easier. Also here, when I'm starting to add in some of the details, this is definitely on its own layer, because I'm going to still want to work with the base color below the eyes and the nose and that, and if I put my details in on that layer, they'll just get painted over. So yeah, I put my details on a separate layer above the base layer here. Normally, it's not advisable to do this kind of detailing this early in a painting, especially if you are using a physical medium like oil paint. But here, basically, I am using these the detail of the face as kind of like my guide work to then begin molding the rest of the head in the digital paint. You might also have noticed that I pretty much completely changed the colors of the eyes. Originally it was all going to be flat brown, but I decided that wasn't going to be dark enough because my dog's eyes are quite a bit darker. And so then I started adding my favorite like navy blue for the darker parts and the line work, and I'm actually really happy with how those eyes turned out, because I just think they turned out so cute. It's one of my favorite parts of this painting. Now you might be thinking to yourself, how do I get such cute eyes? Well, I think one of the keys to having cute eyes is to have them definitely in a shape that inspires like a wide-eyed sort of look, and definitely to have some high contrast, and definitely add that little highlight, because these bright sparkling eyes is what denotes happiness and youth and so on. Now you can see here that I've begun adding in some of the shading, and there's already a little bit of highlight work done. Basically, I'm adding a little bit of highlights and shadows just to bring out the forms a little bit and make them a little more three-dimensional. This is also made easier by the fact that like the muzzle is on a separate layer from the base russet brown color, so I don't have to worry about accidentally painting over something. And it also gives the piece a little more hard contrast in those areas. Also, this is just kind of like a fun little fluff or vanity piece, I guess you could call it. So I'm not really concerning myself exactly with like light sources. I just want to make the little corgi look a little more three-dimensional. So I'm not really bothering with light sources. I'm just shading to bring out the form. Also, from time to time, as you'll see here, I will adjust the form a little bit and then paint in just to like tweak the image. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with just going in and selecting an area and resizing it and repositioning it if you need to. There's nothing wrong with that. That's one of the beautiful things about working with digital. It allows you a lot of freedom to change things very quickly if you want to. So at this point, I pretty much have the corgi's head how I want it. I will tweak it a little bit later, but that will come later. So after that, I went ahead and added my base color for my background, which was this pale blue color. And I'm going to start adding in a bunch of the plant life, and I'm also going to work a little bit on the dog's collar. Unfortunately, this is about the area where my screen recording decided it wanted to crap out. So very shortly, you're going to see a very big jump from having just like 2 leaves in the background to suddenly having very many. That being said, I don't think it's too much of a problem because you'll still get to see a lot of my plant painting anyway. Here we go. And boom, here's a ton of plants. Here I am though, beginning to add more flowers here to the foreground. The pink color is kind of like my quote-unquote shadow color for these white star magnolia shaped flowers. I call them white star magnolia shaped because they're not exactly logical to magnolias, but I was just feeling in the mood to paint those, and so I'm just rolling with it. Anyway, as before, each color is on its own separate layer. So these lighter green leaves that are in the foreground before the corgi, they're on a separate layer, and then the dark background colored leaves are also on a separate layer. I like to keep all of the layers separate whenever I'm working on plants because it makes nice hard edges, and it just helps to organize where everything is, and I don't have to worry about accidentally painting over something. If I decide I want to add like a little bit of a gradient to a leaf or something, I can do that very easily. So for me, whenever it comes to painting these little floral arrangements that I make, I usually go with like darker bluer toned leaves in the background, and I make them brighter as we come to the foreground. And you'll see here in a minute that I even add another lighter green color, but when I start getting to the very light end of the spectrum with like the pale lime color, I want to use it a little more sparingly, and I want to use like the brighter colors closer around by the subject, so it adds more emphasis to the subject, while the darker bluer colors are just kind of like in the background supporting the main feature. The darker colors will make the figure pop out more, and then all of the little detail colors will just kind of draw your eye. It'll focus your eyes into the center of the painting, which is supposed to be the corgi. So here we are, and the floral framing of the corgi is really coming along. And you can see me adding lighter colors again in the foreground that are gonna help draw the eye to the dog some more. Granted, rusty orange color next to green, obviously your eye is going to be drawn to the dog's face, and the dog has the hottest colors in the whole piece, so she's really going to pop against that green background. So there's a lot of things working here other than just me adding like pale lime leaves, but yeah. Also, at this point in the painting, I wanted to go ahead and add another layer of even darker leaves in the background, because there's some unsavory shapes in the background that I wanted to get rid of, like where you can see the pale blue too close to the Corgi. I wanted to fill it in and make it look a lot more lush. So basically, I'm taking a very dark blue and just kind of painting in the background there, just to get rid of those lighter colors from being so close to the Corgi. That way it'll really help the Corgi pop out, like I was saying, and I feel that it just starts to pull the piece together and starts making the piece look more finished. I also had decided that I wanted a little more flower colors than just like the white peach flowers, and so I decided on a bright sort of poppy blue color here, just to kind of add a little more visual interest to the background, but not compete too much with the nice warm tones of the dog. I would also like to say here that when I am painting florals, I do like to try to keep it simple. I don't want to add too many colors all at once, because then it can become a little bit too busy. But here we have a lot of different shades of green, and then we have our pink and white and blue, and that's pretty substantial. It's got a little bit of visual interest. It looks nice. It's not too boring, but it's not all over the place filled with a lot of different colors. Normally, whenever I paint flowers, I have like a chosen color theme. So if I was doing like bright pink flowers, I might also include some yellows, and just maybe have about 3 colors that I'll be working with. And then I use kind of the green as a neutral color, because in nature, green is your neutral color. It's the neutral backdrop for all of your flowers, at least in my opinion. Other people would argue with me about that, but we'll leave that be for now. So that is going to be pretty much it for this video, because of course my screen record had to crap out a couple of different times, but I will leave you with the very fast time lapse of the whole painting here at the end of the video. And I will also thank you for watching, and if you like these kinds of videos, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. So bye bye, and here comes the time lapse.